Okay, welcome everybody. Do me a favor, move your mouse. You all know how to do this by now. Please move your mouse, go to the bottom of the screen. You'll see that green share button, share screen. It won't do anything, but move to the left of it and click on the chat box if you would. It says chat, looks like a little message signal. Type in your name and where you're from. We love to know where you're from, which would be just great. I'm gonna type in, oh, Donna, there's Donna from Houston, and we've got Bonnie from Virginia. We've got Robin from Seattle, Emily from Maryland. We've got Howdy, well, we've got Karen from San Diego, Laura from Texas, people from California, San Francisco, New York, Washington. This is great. Now we have 45 minutes with these amazing men of personal training. I feel kind of weird. You guys are all guys. Like, is this reverse sexism? What is this?
Well, you're the queen bee. You're the leader right now.
I can do what I want, right? That's not. That's the best. Well, whatever. I want to be surrounded by gorgeous men, and so this is our webinar today. So what our goal is today is we're going to look at what it takes to successfully train clients virtually. It seems to be one of the most successful ways for us to interface with the fitness community now, because we can't get groups of 10 and 20 and 30. We can't go indoors. This personal training has really, really been a great way to interact. Even as our clubs open up, virtual training is going to remain a way to effectively expand our reach and increase our income and help those who aren't ready to return from the gym to return. And that our panel of experts are going to look at the ins and outs of virtual training. We're going to look at marketing services, mastering technology, communicating, effective communication. I think, Sheldon, you said, I love this, the art and science of queuing online. I don't think we can emphasize that enough. And we're really going to try to look at how we can maximize our business. So the first thing I want to do is introduce everybody. I love these guys. They present at our conferences. We're really excited. We have Giovanni Roselli, who was voted, what were you? You were like favorite male instructor of the last live stream mania. He's got this big grin. It's like it's really cool. And
why are you asking me what I want? It's your company. You should know what I want.
Okay. Giovanni Roselli is a PFP, you're not getting it, is a PFP trainer of the month. He's an Equinox employer for over 10 years. He's worked as a content creator for both Nike and Equinox. And like I said, he was voted the top male presenter at the last live stream mania. Dane Robinson is a CPT through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, as well as a Lululemon ambassador. I'm so jealous. His focus is to drive a next level boutique studio experience inside One Life Fitness Atlanta. I know you're also a presenter on which program is it, Dane?
I do virtual training with Total Gym and QVC, as well as a company called Daily Burn.
Daily Burn, yes. Also Sheldon is one of my favorite people, and my watch is ringing. Don't you love the way it does this? Sheldon has a master's degree in human nutrition, and he's an ACE certified personal trainer, has over 18 years of experience in health and fitness. And as I told Sheldon today, or just before we turned on, I worked out with him today. So I have an old Les Mills body pump video, and he's one of my favorite trainers in the world. And you were the national director for several years for Les Mills. So that's really kind of cool. So these guys are amazing. I'm going to start with you, Dane, and I'm going to ask you, how do we expand our reach to get to be a personal trainer and really fill our schedule and be able to grow, our fitness finances by being a personal trainer.
Yeah, I think it's almost counterintuitive. And again, what's going to naturally happen, I think what we've always done this is that, we tend to piggyback off each other. So thanks for allowing me to kind of get the ball rolling. Shout out to whoever's from Owings Mills, by the way, I'm a Towson guy. But I think the counterintuitive approach is like, man, I want to cast this net out to everybody and anybody. And if they come towards me, like, cool, awesome. Even though like we all do like squats and burpees and push-ups. So like we haven't branded the exercises. What allows to actually be kind of like, that where honey to flies, so to speak, is I would say aligning problem with solution. Is that what is a certain client avatar feeling? I know there's a lot of moms that are at home that may not be working out, a whole lot, or some people that are trying to lose weight, but they're doing tons of cardio. So that maybe you have a solution that's going to be more strength-based. That's going to reduce body fat, help them keep the weight off, or it's going to be time-based. What's the problem that you can really hone in with the audience so that they're listening to what you have to offer, and that way that you're providing a solution, which is the way that you construct your squats and your burpees and your push-ups. So it seems like it's back to where if we narrow our focus into helping a specific problem or a certain segment of people with our training solution, that's how we can increase our reach and actually increase our income, as opposed to casting this big wide net and saying, come one, come all, when it's like picking out a toothbrush, because that's going to be just as hard.
So it's interesting. It's like, you can cast a wider net and try to attract more people. But sometimes if you narrow your focus, you can go deeper into a market and enhance your credibility. And that's that specialization. I think that's really key. The other thing I noticed, Dane, is you talked about like strategies of selling. Honestly, strategies of selling is finding the pain point and being able to deal with that pain and address that pain. And what has your market been? Where are you finding your sweet spot?
Yeah, it's identifying, I think, a segment that I can relate to. The fact that like 2020 has kind of like gotten everybody out of their routine. It's been able to, it stopped certain progress in certain areas. So if I'm saying, hey, mom, dad, Susie, Q, whomever, whatnot, if 2020 has gotten you out of a path, if it's gotten you knocked out of like, whatever your routine is, let's go back to a strategy. I use the platform of being an athlete. An athlete, to win the game, you have to have a game plan. You have to have a strategy. Let's not hope to get back into the shape that we wanted to be. We're going to actually, I map it out in a 90-day kind of strength and sweat strategy. I gave it a nice little name because from a marketability standpoint, but show like, hey, it's okay. You can get back on course, because right now you don't have a plan. You're scattered all over the place. We're going to get you back in a routine, and we're going to elevate you to get you better than where you were at before the world went upside down. So that's how I've been able to use that simple messaging of problem, solution, even in talking about the here and now.
And I like it. You talked about problem and solution, but you also said plan. And if you use that term plan, I love that strength and sweat. I think that's really clever. But if you use that term plan, it's not like you're going to train them once and throw them on their own and then they never come back. You're also, securing a relationship with this person. Sheldon, you're nodding. And I know you're thinking about something, so please share.
Oh, wow. I mean, Dane makes some really good points, because talking about pain points, for us, the biggest thing for us to learn how to monetize this whole concept and to have a better outreach was not being overly focused on acquisition, like acquiring new clients. Like we had to narrow our focus down to 3 key avatars that was very, very specific, because we could not spread our net wide, because there are so many big players out there and big names and who are swallowing up the attention of our potential consumers. So we had to narrow our focus down. For us, we had to go back and think to ourselves, how do we have a retention effort that's very, very powerful. Once we acquire someone and we get them to say, yes, I need to make a change, and yes, I need to make it now, we had to have a loyalty plan, because we knew that if we can have that 95% retention unit of time over unit of time, it'll create faster growth for us. And so for us, a lot of it was about personalizing the integration process as much as humanly possible and not making it too overly automated and overly push, play, and go. So for us, we had to learn to take somebody who's brand new, learn a lot about the details of their life, what's important to them, the pain points, that bullseye, but not just that, the things about them personally that made them tick. What is their favorite hobby? What's their favorite football team? What's some things about their life? And to personalize ways to reach back out to them frequently so they feel like they are training with someone who cares about them. And so for us, it really helped us create a stronger relationship with our client base that is unique to what bigger online training services could probably do. So
Now,
for us, that was key.
that's interesting because, you know, not only do we try to do about 2 webinars a week, but I listen to webinars. And what fascinates me is a lot of times I'm listening to the owners and I almost feel like the personal trainers that they employ or the group fitness instructors that they employ, we're not even in the picture. We're just like a little cog. And I hear you talking about this personalization and this connection, and I think that that's key. And I know that you manage a pretty extensive staff, Sheldon. Do you systematize how you make these connections with people? Like, do you include special questions of what do you like to do when you work out? Where do you like to work out? What time of day do you like to work out? Let's say in a health history form, just because, you know, the way you are going to engage and maintain your health has to do with time and place and enjoyment.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, if anybody on a call right now who's listening, it manages staff of any kind. Here's the key thing to know. If you can't scale whatever your service is, there's no way it's going to sustain itself. You have to be able to say, if I step out the picture, is this process going to continue on? So there are certain things that, yes, we built what we call like a blueprint. It's a strategy and it's clear. And there's some room for sway in the blueprint, but the blueprint, that's the ironclad. And I'll give you an example. Like, when somebody is interested in the service through our acquisition strategy, we say, all right, this person is admitting somewhere that they need to make a change because we bullseye the marketing approach. What is it that we're saying to them at that stage of specific? So we have a specific line of questions that's always 3 tiers. This is why you want to change, why is it so important. 6 months from now, if you make this change, how are you going to feel? 6 months from now, if you don't make this change, how are you going to feel? So all these things start to come out. And then at some point they say, I want to make this change. They make the purchase. At that point, we cut the time as much as possible between the time they say, I want to start training, and the time they actually start training. If they don't hear from us right away with a phone call, an affirmation, and they get buyer's remorse, they regret the decision, they go home to a spouse and say, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore. So we try to mitigate that as soon as possible so that they always get this human to human connection constantly in the early phases of their journey, especially the first 100 days. And so all of these things are brought out in steps at our facility that some things I consider non-negotiable and some are negotiable. I could sit here for a very long time and go over it, but I will
I love it.
That you just want to make sure you scale your touch points over the first 90 days that is personalized.
Do you, Sheldon, can you share this with us? Or is this kind of like proprietary to the facility you work with?
You're sure. Go ahead and ask something specific. I can share.
All right. Maybe we can attach a document to the recording, and that might be really valuable to people, because even if you're not at a facility and you're working on your own, making sure and setting yourself, you know, even if you use your phone and you do your schedule in your phone, okay, I just signed this client, I have to call them tomorrow, and I set a reminder in my phone then I know I'm going to call that client and just say, you know, we're seeing each other Thursday. Thank you for signing up. Think about what you're eating. Think about what you're going to wear, and I'll see you at such and such on Zoom. If you need help, I'll get on with you about 15 minutes before, and we can go over it. And I've scheduled an hour and 15 minutes instead of an hour, just to make sure everything goes smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great. Don't worry, I'll hunt you down.
Yes, you want to see the flow, this flow. So
The flow. I think I'm reading some comments in here, and I think this is absolutely great. Giovanni. Now, Giovanni is a very expensive personal trainer. Okay, we know this. Where are you in? You're in Florida. You're in, I don't know. I want to train with you. But how did you, I'm kind of going back here. How did you start your reach, and how are you expanding your reach? That was the first question we started with.
Yeah, well, first I want to address, kidding, not kidding, that Dane and Sheldon should go on Shark Tank, because everything that they're saying legitimately, like, what do they say? What do the sharks say? What's the solution? What's the problem? And how are you solving it? And what work are you putting in? What plan are you putting into place to solve this problem? So everything that they're talking about is applicable to all businesses, and is applicable to how to financially make money. So I'm listening to them, and I'm saying, they'd be great on Shark Tank.
That's good. They're going to go on Shark Tank, and I'm going to go on Bar Rescue. Okay, go ahead.
So with me, for those who don't know my background, so I've gotten very much into the corrective exercise part of fitness, and that's just because of the injuries that I've had. So to go back to the points that all three of you have made beforehand, I've kind of focused my niche on those broken type of individuals, and those individuals that don't really move well, or those that are in pain. And then from there, a referral system builds on its own, because then once I've helped a few people who are in pain, those people know a lot of other people that are also in pain. They probably hang out together. They all sit down and say, hey, remember how we used to do this, but now we can't do it anymore. And then one of them says, hey, guess what? Now I can start doing some stuff, because I found this really good trainer, that's allowing me to move my hips a little better, and that's allowing me to rotate through my back a little better. So that's kind of how I've kind of tried to create my niche, and increase my reach that way, and just stay in my lane. Like, I'm never going to be able to teach an awesome, group class like Dane, and I don't try. I just try to do what I do well.
Dane's not that awesome, but that's very interesting, Giovanni. And I'm just going to draw a little personal experience here. My husband's he's got this compression thing going in his spine, so he gets a shooting pain down his leg. Now I can look at him and I can chant over and over again, Al, you need to stretch, you need to stretch. He sits in a chair and crosses his leg, and he thinks he's stretching his piriformis. I mean, that's the extent of it. But now he's taking hot yoga, and he's discovered that his back feels better. So the way he's been telling his guy friends about hot yoga is that it's this very similar corrective exercise experience for him. And I think that really works. Sorry about that with my vicious animal, if anybody's watching, Buster. On Facebook, we got broken in last night in my home, and the dog barked. So I will never complain about that dog barking again. So how can we, guys, get more clients? And I'm going to go a little bit into the marketing end of it. I think what I'm kind of hearing here a little bit is it's a beautiful way to get referrals, and we want to do retention. It's referrals and it's retention. And Giovanni, how do you navigate through that?
Yeah, so well, I'll try to keep it simple. So what actually, on a side note too, I made a note here before I forget. When looking to increase my reach and just looking to see what's out there, especially in my town, I found that Facebook and social media has a ton of great groups that I didn't even realize or know. Like, there's a group of like 10,000 people in this like Facebook moms group in Boca Raton, and every 5 minutes someone says, anybody recommends a good personal trainer. So like, on a side note, like get into some groups if you're looking to see some people post in some groups, and look for work. The one thing that I would say to your previous question is the hybrid of, are you offering only online? Are you offering, if they're in your town, maybe some face-to-face, maybe some online? What can you upcharge? I've mentioned in the past many times about precision nutrition, nutritional coaching, nutritional consultation. That's a slippery slope too, and we have to stay in our lane. But if you have that specific skill set, that's an upcharge that you can potentially give to the clients. So and I think we're going to see a lot more of this hybrid of virtual platforms where it's, you can train with me one-on-one, you could train with me virtual, you can train with nutritional counseling, you can do this a lot of different ways. And I know, and we all know, there's people right now, and there have been people right over the last 8 months, creating new apps, creating new platforms, creating new, all-encompassing virtual and nutrition and group and personal training and everything else. So, that may be something to look into, and, the cream will rise to the crop with that. But, that's something that, if you don't want to just be your own, start up your own brand, or start up your own app or something, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for, platforms and apps and things of that sort.
I have to really agree with you on that. One thing that I'm very surprised at is I don't consider myself in any way, shape, or form like a nutrition expert. Melissa Lane developed a course called Nutrition Coaching for Fitness Professionals, because we don't realize all the stuff we know. It's like, hello, don't eat sugar. And yeah, you got to eat fat now and then, and eat fresh vegetables and fruits as much as you can, and lean meats, and it's being able to keep people on their course without overextending ourselves or expanding our reach, being a lawyer, expanding our reach beyond our expertise, and giving RD, registered dietitian advice. But we are fitness experts. And we do know a lot about nutrition. And if you stay in your lane, you're talking about ways for ancillary revenue, for extra revenue. Dane, you're also nodding here. What ways have you been able to attract clients, retain clients, possibly develop some ancillary revenue streams for yourself?
Yeah, I think just to keep it in those 3 silos of attraction, Sheldon talked about one avenue of like that question of, I think it was a 6-month time period, like what happens if you make this change in 6 months? What happens if you don't make this change in 6 months? That's a very powerful question, because again, it gets them to think about not taking action. So if you're thinking about the attraction standpoint of it, it is asking those right questions that get them thinking about taking action with you now. And then again, it just goes back to what we'll dub the Shark Tank method, is problem solution there, and really own that. Gio talked about staying in your lane and everything. And, I would say staying in your lane, but also staying in your lane is also leaning hard into like what you feel comfortable with. Because again, I'll just kind of chest pass it back to Gio, is that, for as much as injuries I've went through for football, like I haven't went the corrective exercise route and everything. So I'm not going to pretend like that is like my like creme de la creme of like knowledge and everything there. But what I'm focused on as far as the motivation and the fitness and the athletic performance side of things, I can reach into that all day. So that's the attraction part. Ask the right questions and lean into like your archetype and who you are. The retention takes care of itself. Like I think somebody had put it in the chat. Like, people are attracted to the people that speak their language. The retention part, I say, guys and ladies, it's easy. Like, treat people like, like they're gold. Remember small details about their life. Celebrate them. Invest into them. If that means buying them a book, heck, if it means buying a bottle of champagne, like, get them to feel good, because everybody's human and it's about emotion when it comes to retention. The ancillary income avenue of it, I like to think about, like, I'll answer this in two quick ways, is diversifying your portfolio in the sense of, if I'm able to do one-on-one training, I want to also be able to navigate that in group fitness avenues, or semi-private training. And then also, do I have a virtual option? Do I have, it's like a Plinko board. Do I have a couple different slots that Plinko chip can, like, fall down into? And then the second part of that, that the ancillary income would be, again, we've all talked about nutrition. Again, I'm going to be very transparent, is that I haven't gone down that road of getting more education in the nutrition aspect. So I don't pretend to be a nutritionist, but what I do find is simple solutions where, if it is, I'm part of, I work with Beachbody. Like, I do, if I need to send somebody on through a recommendation through something that I've tried myself, that I'm able to give good feedback on, I'm able to bolt that on and put them on like a 3-day refresh and get them taking, just simple protein supplements that I get a kickback on, because it's a simple solution, even though I haven't dived that deep into the nutritional avenue, where I'm going to spit out things that I'm not confident of. And I'm not going to do that whole fake it till you make it thing on the nutritional side, because you don't want to mess around.
Yeah. And it's good because you can make a personal recommendation, and that you feel good about because you've tried it yourself, and yet you're relying on an expert. There are companies, I read this in, where did I read this? I actually think it was Inc. magazine. They were talking about businesses, and if they could link themselves with hospitals, they got a higher revenue base. And then I was on a webinar, and they actually said that fitness centers that linked themselves with hospitals actually had 70% higher membership than fitness centers that didn't. And so I think about that with personal trainers. And I know that when I was an active personal trainer, I actually trained a woman who was pregnant, because pregnancy and exercise is my expertise. One of my expertises. I'm expert in just about everything. Just ask my husband. And so pregnancy and exercise. So I'm teaching, and one of the ladies mentioned it to her OB-GYN, and the OB-GYN just started recommending all these people to me. And I was like, where are they coming from? And I found that it was a physician. So I wonder if, Gio, you specialize in that, in the corrective exercise. I know he actually wrote and works on a certification with us. I know you did some editing and helped and leads the course on that. And that if you can link yourself and match yourself with some type of health professional, I think that provides value. Sheldon, how are you guys working to increase your income, grow your business, and maintain during this really difficult time? Because your doors are they open, or did they close back up again?
They're open, and we are, following the CDC guidelines carefully, physically distancing. All of our live small group training has been switched to complete mini pods. You don't share equipment with anybody anymore, and we work it out. Fortunately, we have the space to sort that, and we have initiated a hybrid and a full-on online personal training platform, just like everybody here on this call or maybe somewhere thinking about this. For us, we had a two-pronged approach to this. One is we were clear that we were going to monetize this, and we were going to create a strong revenue stream out of this. So we said, okay, first thing we have to do is build our avatar. Who is our ideal client? We had to do it on 3 levels. It was like, by gender, by age, by goal, by need, and by timeline. And we got as granular as we could. And then we said, okay, we know that 60 to 70% of all of our ancillary revenue is going to come from our current client base who already trust us and our brand. They were already at home, maybe fearful of coming into the facility. It was easy. We just built out our model. We knew our avatar, and we did a direct email, e-blast, and phone call outreach to our first tier network who we knew was going to respond to us. And then, of course, we would see revenue start to drive up in our online systems. Well, then the second level was who did not know our brand, who does not trust us yet. How are we supposed to reach them with this service? We had to go right back to our avatar, the ideal client. And you have to stay true to that. And then you have to then market to that. So when it comes to marketing, there are many ways you can do this. You could do direct marketing, email marketing. There are many different social media marketing platforms you can use to pay for to get in front of people. I can go on and on about that. The biggest thing I just want to tell everyone on this call now, if you're a personal trainer and you are trying to market and gather leads to eventually turn them into into clients, you have to have an organization of some kind of a CRM of some type to do this. Please don't fall down that trap of thinking that you can manage your leads just by opening up a spreadsheet or getting a piece of paper out and jotting down notes on all the people interested in your service. I teach all of our trainers online and live.
What Sheldon's saying is sometimes people won't know what a CRM is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The customer relationship management system. I'll give you an example.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, all of our trainers who do online and live, I teach them a very simple number algorithm, 12, 3, and 1. 12, 3, and 1. For every one client that you want to get, Jane or John Doe, you need to get 3 people who you present to, demonstrate to, of some kind to touch your service. For all these 3 people, you need 12 active leads that you're pushing down your pipeline, because only 1 out of every 4 people who learn about you are ever going to try to talk to you. Only 1 out of 3 people are going to close when you start to get to presenting them price. So if you want 5 clients by the end of the month, you've got to try to get at least 15 people to touch your service directly. To get that, you need 60 leads you're actively working on. Otherwise, you will never grow. And you have to be able to manage that like really carefully. And there are free CRMs out there that can guide this for you. You will grow your business much quicker if you have an avatar, if you know how to market it in whatever way you reaches your target market and hits their pain point, and then you organize your leads in a CRM, customer relationship management system. You will start to grow if your product is really good. I promise you that.
And if you can't afford to get Salesforce, license a database.
HubSpot.
Yeah, HubSpot.
Free.
It's free. Absolutely free. And you can even use Excel, use an Excel chart, at least something that's organized that you can see where people are coming from. And Gio, you wrote something interesting. You were talking about making relationships with chiropractors and have you done that? Have you been successful at that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, reaching out to physical therapists, chiropractors, anybody, in those fields, because guess what happens when they're released from PT? they want to continue on and they want to get stronger. They want to bounce back from their injury. So that's where they hand you off, and then just you return the favor. There'll be times where, listen, we'll all come into somebody and we'll be like, listen, I think you need to go see somebody about this. You need to go see an MRI. You need to go get an MRI. You need, I'm staying in my lane. And if you're telling me you're in pain, then I don't want you to be in more pain. So let me refer you to someone that I know. And then you're bouncing business back and forth. And so then it's always, in businesses, what's in it for me, right? So, okay, we'll have a nice referral service where we can trade some clients too. And I wrote in the notes too, like, if you don't know the physical therapist in your area, just make an introduction and find out, who the good ones really are, and say, hey, you know, this may work, this may not work, but it's worked for me in the past where it's, hey, can I come in? Can I kind of shadow? Can I just see what you guys do? Like, I would really love to learn. I would really love to, you know, see, can you take me through as if I was a client? You know, show interest. Just don't be like, hey, let's make some money together. Let's refer. Like, build the rapport, build a network of, hey, can I come in? Can I come in? Can I visit your facility? Can I take a tour? Can I see? Can I shadow? Is there any potential for that? And then you're building that rapport. It takes time, but you know, you're doing the groundwork. And I found success with that.
That's great. We got a question. Melissa is currently studying to be a pronatal fitness instructor. And with the sensitivity of the virus, she's worried that she doesn't have enough experience in this and I won't find clients. Any suggestions? And, you know, Gio, you just said, yeah, I love the idea of joining groups. Right? I really think that's a great idea. Anybody else have any suggestions?
I'd make that was the first thing that my mind went to, was like, there's tons of Facebook groups out there, especially in that is such a great niche to be in as far as prenatal, prenatal. But I would also say, again, like something like this will also help, is that if you market like a webinar based on your expertise, where you can help, like, again, those moms to be, or, you know, in that regard, or those people that are going in that niche and whatnot, you can educate them. And it goes back to what, and you don't have to, again, do it live. You can do it, or excuse me, in person. You can do it on a Zoom call just like this. But it goes back to what I was taught, the 12-3-1 method as well, just in the sense of like, I'm going to market out there. And my goal, if I want one client, hopefully I got to get at least 12 to show up to a webinar, or at least that means, you know, 50 register or whatever the case may be. And that's going to be a way for you to, again, work that exposure. So I would say, number one, get in that Facebook group. But number two, put out a quote unquote free treat, like the top 5 mistakes, you know, you make, you know, or the myths about what you should be doing fitness wise before you're having a baby or after having a baby, stuff like that, where people are going to want that information. You're solving a small, tiny bit of their problem there. And then you go into like, what's the next step? You're not selling training off the bat, but you're selling the next step.
It was interesting. A friend of mine is a prenatal specialist, and she did short, sweet, like 15-minute, you know, webinars like you're talking about, Dane. And she focused on different body parts. She thought, what am I going to talk about? I can't talk about, you know, diastasis recti for 40, you know, for an hour and a half. Well, you can, but it is not pretty. So, but I'll talk, you know, let's focus on abs today. Let's focus on back today. Let's focus on hamstrings and show exercises and things you can do. Let's focus on glutes. Let's focus on upper body. So she broke it down into 15 little small snippets, and trying to be consistent is key when you're trying to develop a following. Meaning, if you're going to do it Tuesday, do it Tuesday at noon. Every Tuesday at noon, Tuesday, you know, try to figure out and be consistent, and that will help you in that regard. Now, I'm going to go around the room. What's been the most successful technique that you've used to market your services? The most successful technique for you? Dane, what have you done?
You know, I've tried to think about a mentor told me, you know, I'd rather drink from 3 water fountains than 1. So it's diversifying the visibility. Obviously, social media is going to be, I've always believed that's not an option these days. Like, you have to be present on there. And I would say, again, if you don't know what to post on social media, again, think about your ideal client avatar, what's one of their problems, and top 5 myths, top 3 things you should be doing now. Like, people like lists in that regard, but also, again, just taking it back into trying to think about acquisition as far as being able to market myself and working into that avenue of visibility. That's going to be, hey, something like this. Again, like, hey, what's, you know, how to, you know, top 3 strategies to get back into a routine. You know, here's a webinar link. Join me on this day at this time. We're going to solve your problem right now. And that third part would just be referral based. kind of like, again, Gio, and I'm sure, again, the members that Sheldon works with, is that, the easiest people, quote unquote, to sell, so to speak, are the people that already know, like, and trust you. I'm not a big fan. Cold traffic sucks. Like, it's hard. It's hard, but once you get through that avenue, your warm traffic is already people that already know you in a referral avenue. And sometimes, like, just go and ask, just saying, like, hey, like, that neighbor of yours, or like your wife said, you wanted, like, to kind of, get back into it and whatnot. Like, let's schedule time. Let's talk. Don't be so cutthroat and try to, if you seem desperate for the sale or desperate for the client, it will show. Take it through a process. Lead them to the next step, and that end destination being, them being a client.
And Sheldon, you're nodding knowingly.
Yeah, Dane is speaking the truth right there. I mean, because people have to trust has to come over time. Actually, sometimes take 7 to 15 touch points that are meaningful before they trust you and your brand. So being able to empower yourself to maybe drip information on those people who you're starting to get emails from, maybe get an email list going, and you could drip useful information to them without pushing for the sale or the conversion, helps build enough trust that when that question does come up about, hey, perhaps you want to engage my service, they're more apt to do that. So for those of you guys who want a great marketing tip to do is to get yourself a way to drip campaign to your leads, because they will trust you more. And it may take time for that to convert, but it's worth it, and the conversions will be much higher percentage compared to your leads. And for us, we're a bigger club, so we have our focus was retaining the clients we have. We had a different approach to the last 2 months. So for us, it was about who we already had and giving them the information that was relevant to their world, and we saw a very good conversion because of that.
Oh, that's really good. Great idea. And Gio, what technique have you used that really helps with your marketing?
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on what they said and expand on the email marketing blast. And we've talked about this before. And I love the term drip, because I've learned and I use kind of that same strategy of, it's not the first email like in your face, like, okay, sign up, only $99 now. Like, it's, hey, here's a little bit about me. Here's a video on YouTube that I shot. Check it out. See how the mobility of the hip works in this plane of motion, whatever it is. And then you'll see who you see who clicks on it. Then you see who's interested. And then you can even follow up with them with some more information and more information. And then you just say, hey, I'm here if you need me, or I'm here if anybody that needs someone like me, and go through it like that. But I've been using more and more, especially in the last 8 months, email marketing list. And
what I really enjoy is I'm on your list, Gio, and I get your newsletter, and I love your newsletter. And you guys, it's not like ultra designed and ultra, sophisticated. It's simple. And you get to know Gio. You always end with your family photo or something you've done with your daughter, and so I feel like, at first you look at this dude and you're like, oh, I'm terrified. I can't work out with him. I'll be in pain, and then you get to know, oh, he's so, he's gentle with his daughter. Maybe, I won't end up a bloody mess the next day. But there's education in there. There's a little bit of family. You're always building your credibility also. If you don't mind, Gio, I'm going to include a link to one of your newsletters in the recording, because you guys look at it. And I'll tell you, if I ever said to Giovanni, can I reprint one of your articles? Oh, I know he's going to say yes. If you guys read one of our SCW Spotlight newsletters or Tidal Waves is Aqua, Spotlight tends to be more general. If you want to republish one of our articles to provide education and not even appear like the expert, you are an expert, but this is a way you can demonstrate it, go for it, man. All you got to do is ask us. We're always going to say yes. We're getting of course, we have like 1 minute left, and this is Dane's favorite thing. He would providing us with action steps. If you were going to give advice to someone, I'm going to pose different questions to you guys. Dane, if you were going to tell somebody an action step, I'm a group fitness instructor, I want to start personal training. What should be my 3 steps I should take?
Cool. So when you're looking at it in just 3 steps, again, it's going to sound like we're kind of rehashing the same information, but we're touching on these points because like they're so consistent. Number 1, who are you serving? Get down to the nitty gritty. Please don't be the personal trainer is like, I service everybody. Not a thing. Really hone in onto one, specific or a couple different audiences. Know your audience, number 1. Second avenue is think about your training map, your teaching map. Where are they now? And what's the wow? What's the problem? What's the solution? So that's step 2. Step 3, now is just figuring out, okay, how can I provide value and where is my warm traffic at? Where are the people that already know, like, and trust me? And if you connect all those 3 dots, being, again, if you even work backwards, where do people know, like, and trust me? What are their problems and what's my solution for their problem? And then go into like, I know this person so well in and out as far as what their mentality and what they're feeling emotionally. That way, again, it leads them to a buying decision, which is going to be ending up being a client of yours. But those are your 3 steps. Know your client, we call it an ICA, your client avatar, training map as far as problem solution, and where's your warm traffic.
Okay, very cool. Action steps, Sheldon, for retention.
Action step for retention. Number 1 is make sure that you have a plan for human to human touch points along the initial first 100 days of them getting your service. What is it going to be? Make sure you have a CRM in place of some kind, and you want to track all those touch points and all those things you might forget so that you are able to organize your touch points in a meaningful way. Number 3 is make sure that you are tracking your engagement and usage. So make sure that you know how often someone should be training with you, engaging you, and make sure that you're able to be proactive and ahead of the game for someone who's kind of trailing off in any way, shape, or form. If I could put it on one simple statement, make sure you have very personalized human-to-human touch points in the first 100 days of their journey. That's retention 101.
That's excellent. And then Gio, give me action steps for attracting, you're in business for a while. What would be a new avenue that you might want to attract more clients to come to you?
Okay, I'll do it really quick then. So number 1, and I think we kind of talked about this without talking about it, is who's already in your network, and then build from what's in your network. And I can't say that enough. Like, if you're good, then they will tell other people how good you are, and then they'll do the work for you. I would also say on a general idea is look at the people who are doing what you want to do. Look at the people who you aspire to be, or look at the ones that are, man, that's what I really want to do, or that's someone I aspire to be, and see what their steps are, and even reach out to them. This is the time to reach out to people. Everyone is sitting at home on their computers. You're more likely to get an email answered from someone like that. And then once you have your niche, and I'll kind of close it with this because we talk about this the whole time, right? Focus and zone in on, what you really want to teach and who you really want to be a representative of. And then with me, it's corrective exercise. So I'm a physical therapist, chiropractors, things like that. With pre and postnatal, look at gynecologists, look at doctors, look at anybody else that you can pull from there and make the introductions from there, and then start to grow and start to build from there.
That is great. So I thank you all. We're of course, I always go over. It's like teaching class. I'm always 3 minutes over. I want to thank you guys for joining me. I want to thank all of you that came in and logged into this webinar. Sean Senejan, thank you for running this webinar and setting it up so beautifully. Remember, we're recorded. So Sheldon's going to share some steps. Gio's going to put in, get us one of his newsletters. Dane, I don't know, a photograph of when he was a child. I'm not sure. We'll do something. And I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you, Sheldon. Thank you, Dane. Thank you, Gio, Giovanni. You guys are fabulous. We'll see you November 6th through 8th at the last live stream mania of the year. Okay. Stay safe, everybody. Love you. Thank you.